Hey y'all, welcome back to Shantae's Listening. Here we are with Imani. Hey, period. And we're gonna talk a little bit about friendships and relationships. Imani is my friend, and she is
25 years old. Originally from Brooklyn, New York. Moved down here to the South 10 years ago. I've been in Charlotte for 2 years now. And yeah, I'm in a relationship. Been in one for 5 years. And I'm so excited for this.
period. So let's jump right into it.
To me, a true friend is someone who is ride or die.
Period.
They should know when to sugarcoat and when to not. And be loyal, just a shoulder to lean on.
Okay, well, define what do you mean by sugarcoat?
For me personally, I don't really ask for advice. Typically, I'm just venting, so I don't always want opinion.
Right.
So if I don't ask for one, I don't want one. But when I do ask for one, I want you to be honest.
Okay.
So
Okay. What qualities do you value the most in a friend?
someone who's funny, someone who is caring, empathetic, someone who I want you to be like a boyfriend, but without
the penis.
Exactly.
Yo, I'm screaming. Period. That makes sense. I'm screaming. How do you maintain your friendships over time, especially with busy schedules?
So I'm actually pretty bad about that, clearly. And I have to do better, but I would say I maintain my friendship by checking in, periodically.
Periodically.
Not every day, but it would be best if it was, but I'm not at that point yet.
Okay.
So, frequently enough for you to remember me.
Okay, this is understandable. Everybody has their friendship schedule. Because personally, I would prefer you text me every day.
Oh.
I would like my friends text me every day. Because when I text you and you take 3 to 5 business days to text back, I be like, are you alive over there? Or are you ignoring me? Like, what's going on? Are you alive? Do I need to go check up on you? Like, where are you at, sis?
I don't think it's 3 to 5 business days. I think it's I feel like I respond back to you quick. Now, when I'm at home, and no, I still feel like for the most part, I feel like I would be responding.
If I pull up these text messages, baby, it's at least 3 days.
No.
At least 3 days. Don't make me pick up the phone and call mom real quick, because she gonna back me up on that one.
3 days though?
All right.
2 hours, maybe 3.
Oh my, okay, 24 to 48 hours is still too long. Something can happen within that time frame.
That's true. But as I said, one of the things I need to work on is responding right then and there. I see everybody's messages, for the most part.
So you respond in your head?
Yes. And then I forget to actually respond to it. Because I'm like, I'll just respond to it later. Let me finish doing this.
And then you forget. And then you respond later. After you take a nap, after you take a shower, after you cancel everything you need to do, like, oh, I need to take this person back. What do you think is the hardest part about maintaining a friendship?
The hardest part is when you're long distance,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to stay in contact with each other. And I feel like when you go a while without speaking, there's more to talk about. Even though, yeah, there's more to talk about. When you're close like us, like obviously we live in a
Right.
and see each other 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for us,
Right.
Because we could just
see each other at work.
Right.
How do you feel about maintaining friendships through social media or text?
Most of my friendships, well, I don't really have a lot of friends. So,
how many do you have? Can you count them on one hand? Or
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're basically all long distance.
Okay.
So I have no choice really but to communicate through social media.
Okay.
So I feel like it's easier for me to communicate that way, even though, as we already stated, I don't respond back that quickly. But
you're gonna work on that.
Yeah.
It's work in progress. Work in progress. What role does trust and communication play in your friendship?
It plays a big part. Now I'm a serial ghoster. Mm-hmm. I feel like I shouldn't have to talk about problems and stuff like that with a friend. Like I feel like there shouldn't be any.
Right. Like you mean problems like between the friendship?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
And another thing I have to work on, if there are problems, I just stop talking. Which is why I need to work on my communication with friends. But I feel like because nothing really happens, so it doesn't really apply to me.
Okay.
Because so I do communicate.
It's very like basically straightforward in your friendship. So you therefore there is no problem. Okay, that makes sense. Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. Period.
We're not friends anymore.
Hypothetically speaking. Whoa.
Or at least for that time. We'll get back right, maybe later on because we'll just start back talking. But
you don't do confrontation, basically what you're saying. Okay, so for example, let's just say you all haven't talked in a long time and there's been maybe some miscommunication, because you know how I am very sensitive thug. And so if I feel some type of way and then I come in and be like, oh, why you say something back? It's not necessarily a problem per se.
Right.
But what if there was a friend? I wouldn't make it a big deal because I know you at this point. But what if there was a friend who just came up to you and blew up? Like, how would you approach that friend knowing that y'all are good friends and it was just...
See, I'm kind of a defensive person. And when I feel like someone's trying to come at me, I would return the same thing, which would make things worse.
Yes, it would.
But I feel like I don't really have friends like that.
Right.
I feel like all my friends are chill. Right. Or similar to me. So
yeah, you don't run into that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I can tell. We haven't had an issue. I was like, she holds grudges, so I kind of know my boundaries with this one. Okay, because I don't have time for that. Yeah. I know what to do, what not to do. And my thing is, I'm the type of person that if I wouldn't want you to do it to me, I'm not going to do it to you.
Exactly. I feel like
so when you run into people like that, it's like, you really don't have the issue. So that kind of makes sense. How do you decide whether or not to forgive a friend who has hurt you? Oh, God.
So, you already know. Right. It really depends on what's done.
Okay.
Now, something crazy, there's no forgiveness. Now, if it's, I'm trying to think of like a scenario where I would be like, let's say you're intoxicated.
Okay.
I feel like I would be more willing to forgive things that are potentially said. Depends.
Okay.
But if you're sober, hurt my feelings, I don't think I could forgive. Now, if you tell, let's say I'm acting crazy and you're telling me about myself, and I'm mad at that point, and then later on I think, maybe I did overreact. They were just trying to be a good friend. Even though I guess there's nothing to forgive them.
Unless you were to say something out of the way to them, then you have to apologize.
And I feel like I don't necessarily have a problem apologizing when I'm in the wrong.
Right.
But I feel like I'm normally not.
Right. I feel like you normally hold your composure. You definitely, I got to work on that. You definitely hold your composure. Your face will tell it all. I'll be at work running off at the lip like, you got me all the way jacked up. You're not about to talk to me like that. And your face will say the exact same thing without having to say anything. And I just be like, maybe I need to work on it. Because,
Yeah.
But when you've lived a life so much built up and you never said anything to protect yourself, it's like, I'm at a point where, no, I'm not tolerating that. You're not talking to me like that. Do you think online friendships can be meaningful as in-person friendships? Why or why not?
I think it can be meaningful and maybe even more meaningful because I feel like people might be more comfortable expressing things through text or with people, let's say they don't actually know that person or they've never met them in real life. I feel like it might be easier to express things with a social media friendship rather than someone like you and me.
Right. There are a few friends that I had met online. We talked for a long period of time, but then it got to a point where it got weird. So therefore, I had to start minimizing my communication with people online because they would take it too far. So then I had to start limiting my online presence.
So you would say that you don't like social media friendships? Or
not at this point, because they take it too far. So I limit having like DM conversations that lead too far. So if you're saying, hey, nice pic, cool, I have a conversation with you. But if you talk about anything other than that, we ain't got nothing else to talk about. It's time for you to go. So to a certain extent, I can understand online friendships, but you have to recognize the red flags. And then if you have a nice long conversation, checking in, stuff like that, okay, cool. But you gotta notice the red flags when you have the conversation.
Red flags with, like you were saying, nice pics, or why? Is that with men?
Men or women, because either one can get crazy. So there are crazy people out there these days. So with men, you know how men are. They're very aggressive, whether they're single, married, whatever. They go overboard. And then with women, women, are, they like what they like, or whatever. They go overboard too. And I just be like, hope we have a great day. And I just keep it pushing. And then if they continuously send messages, I ended up either just muting, because I don't want to be rude to completely block, because it won't, people can change. So if it continues or it gets to a point where it gets to be too much, then I will go ahead and just block it. Because I got this one guy, he will still message me, what's up, and I will not respond. And it's been going on since I left high school, and I still have not blocked him. But I will, every now and then, I would just say, hey, hope you have a good day. I still haven't blocked him. But he hasn't gone overboard as to other things that I've seen. But he would still text and say, hey, how you doing? what's up, you look beautiful, stuff like that, when we gonna hang out, when we gonna chill, I will not want to. But if you go past that limit and you go another level up, I ain't got nothing for you.
Right. When are they in a relationship? Because you said since high school, that means they haven't, well, maybe they have found someone and they just moving outside. Can't put anything past that.
Right.
But since high school, I think it's a long time because you know you ain't
Oh, you got jokes. You got jokes. Okay. She's trying to call me old. Okay. But yeah, it's been a while. And it's crazy because in high school, he didn't talk to me. But then after high school, now you got all the time in the world.
That's a lot of guys.
In high school, they didn't want to talk to you. But then after high school, oh, I always want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what was that same energy in high school? Yeah, no. Find somebody else to play with. How have your friendships evolved since becoming an adult?
Since becoming an adult, I feel like my friendships now are more emotional and serious. And while I was, or not while, but when I was younger, I feel like it was more playful and not as serious. And when I say serious, I mean like, I didn't really talk about serious things when I was younger. Now I feel like we get into the deep, conversation.
So basically, like more mature, more mature things of life. Because you growing up, you was like, oh, kitty, and playing with baby dolls and stuff like that. And now it's more so like, okay, now I gotta put my granny drawers on and be an adult.
Right.
Ooh. Do you find it easier or harder to make new friends as an adult?
I feel like it's always been hard for me to make friends, period. Just because I'm more of a speak when spoken to type of person. And I've been told throughout my life that different things. One, that I get stuck up. Two, I have a resting face, so I give off unapproachable vibes. Even though I don't think so. Well, what did you think when you met me?
Woo, child. My Lord. Well, when I first met her, she was very quiet, very timid, and I was just like, let's see if I can shake this cage. I was like, she cannot be this quiet. I think you just gotta get to know people for yourself. And I'm just like, she doesn't talk to certain people. And I was just like, well, let me just get to know her for myself. And as you get to know people for yourself, that's when you get to find out who people are.
I don't even remember really how our friendship
started. I probably started with you got pregnant.
Probably. How did we get
No,
here?
I think I just started running my mouth.
Oh.
I think I just started running my mouth. I think I was having a day, and I just walked with you and just had a whole therapy session. I was just like, wait a minute, this girl don't even know me. Why am I talking to her? I don't know. Maybe it was just your comments.
I get that.
Yeah, and also because you're a Gemini. Oh. Yeah. Y'all are like, we're like two peas in a pod. So like,
I do like Leos actually.
Period. So yeah, you were just very calming, and I felt like I could talk to you. And then after a while, when you just kept saying I was just like, oh.
See, that's just me showing you that I'm listening. Because if I just sit here, I'm like,
now I've seen you do that to other people. Now I recognize that when you did that, you were actually listening to me. But when you did it with other people, it was just like,
get out
you wouldn't do any of that, and it was just like, and I would notice that, and I just be like, I'm gonna just keep talking to you. If you don't like,
right?
Period. Do you think it's important for friends to have similar values or beliefs? Why or why not?
Do I think it's important and with certain beliefs? Yes.
Okay.
Now I feel like you can have different opinions,
Yeah.
but if it's something, for example, political
Okay.
values, if it's different, I feel like keep it to yourself.
Right.
Now, once you get to expressing it, then that's when I think it's a problem. Even though, I guess people can have intellectual debates.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to debate with my friends.
Do you think when you have disagreements on that kind of level, it's gonna cause a rift in your friendship? It's gonna cause you to look at them differently?
It depends on what their views are. Now, let's say I'm pro-choice.
Okay.
And they're pro-life.
Okay.
And they're very hard stuck on it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically saying I'm wrong or something like that.
I get you.
I'm trying to think what other.
I feel like everybody can make their own choices at the end of the day, and those people who make those choices have to live with those choices. Like at the end of the day, nobody should be judged for the choices that they make. Everybody has made mistakes. Everybody is given a choice to make, and at that moment, if you decide to make a choice that has a life-altering consequence, that's a choice that person has to live with, and that has nothing to do with you. All that person needs you to do is to support them. And if you're not going to support them and love them, shut up. Period. How do you handle friendships where the person's values start to conflict with yours?
Not being friends with them. I'm just kidding. It depends.
Whoa.
It depends on how deep our friendship is. Now, if it's kind of surface level and not really
friendship, like
right,
you're just getting to know each other,
then we are. But if it's closer, then and I really don't like whatever those views are, and I want to continue being friends, I would say, let's just not talk about this anymore.
Okay.
Let's keep it to ourselves. Okay. That's that.
Okay. I was gonna ask you, would you have a discussion about it, but you said no, just keep to yourself. So that's a way to think about it. But I felt like at that point, at some point, it's gonna come up again, and you're gonna end up saying it again. But it's just like at some point you have to just let that person. If you all are intertwined at this point in a friendship, I feel like you just should let them figure it out.
Give me an example of a situation there where I would have to, what value?
Give me a value that you stand on.
I don't know.
Think of a value that you stand on, and I'm gonna try to see if it conflicts.
So you know how sometimes girls are like, "Oh, my man said I can't do that." See, you agree with me.
Okay,
but let's just say you're playing devil's advocate. That's one value where I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not saying it for that.
Ooh, okay, let me try to get myself together because I don't agree with it. What if that friend comes from a home where she saw her mother doing whatever your father told her to do? So she has a mindset, and she grew up in an environment where she has to do what her man has told her to do. So it's just like, you all are really good friends. It doesn't mess with your friendship, but it's just like, it's something that continuously comes up.
And hard to see that person going through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how do you handle it? It has nothing to do with your friendship, but it's like hurting you to see your friend go through that. So how do you handle that?
You gave a good counterpoint. I feel like in a situation like that, I can only express so much and try to get that friend to think differently and realize that that's unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you have to want better for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So my words can only do so much. And if it's not affecting our friendship, they just can't bring that up to me.
Right. Because I feel like at a certain point, now I'm on your side. Because I feel like at a certain point, it is going to interrupt your friendship.
If I want to go to the club and your man is like, nah.
Right. Because at the same time, you're going out to have fun. It's not like you're saying, all right, friend, let's go out and let's go drink with the guys. It's not like you telling her we going out to do something against your relationship or something like that. You just going out because you need some girl time. You don't want to be stuck up on him all the time because you never know what's going on inside her household. It could be an isolation thing where he's trying to isolate her from her friends as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that could be an issue as well, and you could be actually saving her from something that could be going on in the household as well.
Right.
So. Do you think friendships can affect relationships? And if so, in what way?
I don't think friendship can affect relationships. I think relationships can affect friendships.
Okay.
With our earlier point of the guy trying to isolate, the girl, keep her away from her friends, that would cause problems, obviously. Just having a controlling man would,
wow, that was good.
hinder your friendship.
Right. Yeah. And then it'll cause you worry too because you're concerned about your friend. And then that could just lead to a ripple effect.
And then maybe you don't know what's going on and you just thinking that that's all her doing.
Right.
And now you're not happy.
Right. And it's not even her. It's what she's going through. She's trying to protect you from what she's going through, or she doesn't know how to communicate. Help me. Yeah, I see that. How do you define a healthy relationship?
I feel like a healthy relationship requires communication.
Period.
Respect and loyalty.
Period. Because without that, you don't have a relationship.
Right.
Period. What qualities do you look for in a romantic partner?
Someone who's funny, caring, emotionally in tune, and intelligent.
Yes.
Smart,
of course. You be dumb.
Right. I need you to be able to hold a conversation.
Intelligent conversation.
Yes.
We don't want you babbling about something we don't know what you're talking about.
Right. What else? Did I say romantic?
No.
For that.
Period. We need the flowers, the chocolates, the feet rubs, the back rubs. Nothing extra. Don't do nothing extra. The extra foot rub. That's all we need to do is the foot rub.
Exactly. And I feel like someone who's able to take charge or take take initiative.
Okay.
To do stuff.
Right. Like you don't want to have to tell him, I need you to do X, Y, Z. You want it to already be known. I need you to do this. I get what you're saying. I don't feel like a lot of men were taught how to take initiative because they saw their mom do it all the time. And it's just like, no. It's like, why don't you just, you see the trash can getting full, why don't you just get up and take the trash out? And if you see the sink full of dishes, why don't you get up and wash the dishes? If you see the trash can full, excuse me, why don't you just get up and sweep the floor? If you see that clothes that you wash, why don't you get up and wash them? I don't feel like in this day and age there needs to be a gender-based role in the house. I feel like if you see it, do it. If you know that you have a day off and your partner's at work and you know there's things that need to be done around the house, take the load off of your partner and just do it. It shouldn't be, oh, well, you the woman of the house, so you gotta go there and cook. You can cook too. Get on over there and cook on that grill, or get on over there and cook some pasta. Yeah, if you don't know how to cook, look up a recipe.
So you would take out the trash?
Baby, I'm here.
Well, you have no choice. But if you was living with a man, and you would take out the trash?
No, that's his responsibility.
What happened to what you just said?
Let me rephrase that.
I mean, I wouldn't take out no trash either. But
I feel, well, when it comes to trash, I just say I leave the trash to the man. Like that. Right now I have valet trash, so I don't think I do.
Period.
I just sit it at the cell. The man comes. So all I do is tie the bag and put it outside. Yeah, my daddy comes, he takes the trash, and he takes it all the way to the door. So that's only when he comes. So that's that. Period. How do you think communication impacts the strength of a relationship?
With no communication, you don't got no relationship.
Period.
Might
as well talk to a brick wall.
Right. Because a lot of things can go wrong, be misinterpreted, etc. without talking.
Because you know how our imagination gets.
We're overthinkers.
So, yeah. Especially us. Because if you ain't talking to me and you ain't breathing down my neck, you must be breathing down somebody else. And if you talking about you sleep, that's not gonna work. 2 + 2 is 4. That don't work on you. You sleep. I don't play that. Play with somebody else. Can you describe a relationship that has significantly influenced your life, and how so?
I feel like my current relationship has influenced my life.
Ooh, look at them dimples.
I didn't grow up in a loving household. Obviously, I knew my parents, loved and cared about me, or care about me. But it was never verbally expressed or even physically.
Right.
So with my current relationship, he helped me become comfortable expressing love verbally.
Shout out to Nolan. Period.
So, yeah, my current relationship has allowed me to become emotionally
available.
Yeah.
That's so cute. I cannot wait to get invited to the wedding.
Hopefully soon.
Period. What role does trust play in your relationship, and how do you build it?
You definitely need trust because, you're not always around that person. You don't know what they're doing. I'm the type of person where I give you trust, or I'm not going to assume you're going to do anything or whatever until you give me a reason to do so.
Right.
So, starting off, you have all my trust.
Right.
Once you mess up, that's it.
They don't have a chance to...
See, and that's the thing. I feel like before my current relationship, I wasn't really a forgiving person. Well, you know what? I'm still not.
You're about to say, you're not.
I only really forgive him.
I'm about to say, that's it. That's all.
Right. Which is crazy to me.
He's moving that wall.
I know, exactly. So, relationships, I'll give you some chances depending on what you do.
Right. Okay.
Obviously, cheating is a no-go.
Yeah, no.
Once I find out, that's it.
Right.
But if you lie about little stupid stuff, I
It's
feel
just
like,
why you lie? It's
exactly.
Like I'm smacking the back of your head.
Right. And I'm gonna curse you out. And then we can move forward once I feel like you are apologetic.
Or you learned your lesson.
Exactly.
I'm screaming. I cannot with you. Period. How do you approach handling conflicts in a relationship?
I need time to myself because I feel like in the moment I might say things I don't mean. Things will come across the wrong way, so I need some time to reflect and think.
Yeah.
Which is a positive. Sometimes I might be sitting there thinking like, I can't believe he really said that to me. He really thought he could say that to me. So sometimes it's not too good. But for the most part, I need my time to reflect, and then we can come back and, talk about it.
Right. So you are a sweetheart.
Yes. For the most part.
Okay.
Well, what about you? How do you deal with conflict?
Oh Lord. I'm supposed to be asking questions here, but being that she asked me, how do I handle? I shut down. I shut down to a certain extent, and if you keep if you constantly raise your voice, or you keep triggering me after I've already gave you a warning to chill out, I go from 0 to 100, and I just let you have everything that I got. It's like a fire breathing dragon. I let you have it, but I know how far to go. I go to a certain extent. I don't go to hell. I mean, I could, but I go to a certain extent to let you know to stop pushing my buttons. And once I get to that point, you'll know that soft person is in there, but you're not going to continuously push me to that level to where you think you're going to run over top of me. Because once I show you that side, you're like, oh, she got a little fire to her. Yes, so don't push me to that point, because I'm not that person. And then I'll begin to get upset and cry because you don't push me to a point where I didn't want to have to go. And you think that I'm a punk, and you think it's the fact that I'm mad at you. No, it's the fact that you made me get to a point where I didn't want to. And now I gotta go calm myself down, and it's gonna take about 3 to 5 business days, and then we can reconvene. But don't act like ain't nothing happened, because I'm sure gonna remind you. Because I'm like, didn't you just say such and such on the phone? No, I didn't mean it. No, but that's what you said, didn't you?
Right.
Oh, okay.
You sound like me.
2 peas in the pod. That's why we be cutting up so bad.
Right.
How do you handle jealousy or insecurity in a relationship?
Now, I feel like I'm not really an insecure person. Jealous, though.
Okay.
I do get jealous.
Okay, why? Why you feel that way? And you have no reason to be jealous. Look at you.
I feel like if you talking to, I don't like friendly men.
Praise the Lord.
If you talking too much, that's a no-go.
Keep it to a minimum.
Right.
You got like 30 seconds. Hey and bye. That's enough.
Exactly.
Don't do too much talking.
Right. I don't even like, I like a respectful man.
Right.
I don't communicate when I'm feeling. But you're gonna know that there's a problem.
I know you're gonna get that death stare.
Yeah. What else would I do?
They know when we get a death stare, it's time to shut that mouth. Because I'd be like,
Right. If I was petty, I would try and do the same thing intentionally. Even when I don't really like talking to people.
Right.
So if
you don't at all.
I would, if I felt like being petty, I would try and make that person jealous.
Okay, Miss Petty Boo. With a capital P.
I'm more mature.
Right.
And, I'm about to reach 25. My frontal lobe is about to fully develop.
Frontal lobe.
Right. So, I wouldn't do that. Unless they was doing something crazy.
They go overboard.
Yeah. What about you?
So, I won't say anything, but eventually when we having a conversation, I'll bring it up. I'll be like, I peeped that you was watching such and such, and she was that Shane across the floor.
Oh, I would have had to hit him.
We do not condone violence. I'm screaming.
They're getting smacked.
How do you deal with miscommunications or misunderstandings in a relationship?
In relationships, as I already stated, I'm a forgiving person. If there was...
You're forgiving in relationships, but you're not forgiving in friendships?
Because I feel like, as friends, what is there to, there should be no disagreements or anything like that. I feel like it's more understandable to have disagreements.
To a certain degree. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
As long as there's no disrespect, we can, move forward. I feel like just having one person express how they feel, the other person express how they feel or what they meant to say. You just
if I see that there's a pattern, obviously I can't forget. I mean, you go continuously keep doing it,
right?
And
so forgive and move forward. How about that?
Yes, forgive and move forward. But to a certain point, my grace is gonna wear thin. Let's put it like that, in good terms. Because that's when I'm gonna have to let you know that I'm not the one to be with. Play with somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe your mama, but not me. How do you approach rebuilding trust after it has been broken in a relationship?
I feel like there's no coming back from it, to be honest.
So overall, forgiveness is a hard thing for you to do. Why is forgiveness a hard thing for you?
That's a good question. I don't really, because I feel like I said it already. I'm not really a trusting person. I overthink. I'm paranoid. So
we are so similar. It's funny. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have one time with me. And then, as I already said, I don't put nothing past nobody.
Right.
I'ma hope that you won't do anything.
Right.
But once you do,
you got to worry about that with me, baby. Got time. I don't want that wrath over here.
Yeah.
How do you maintain a sense of individuality while being in a committed relationship?
Now, this is actually something I feel like I have to work taking time for yourself
Okay.
is important. You know, doing things that make you happy, having your own hobbies and
Right.
stuff like that, and taking the time to invest in yourself. I feel like that allows you to keep your individuality.
I agree. Like, have some time for, like, set aside things for you all to do together, and then have things to do separately. How do you show love and affection to your partner, and how do you like to receive it? Oh.
So I feel like my love language is quality time, acts of service. I feel like those are the main two. Now, if we had to list them all, next would be physical touch, receiving gifts, and then words of affirmation is last for me. I don't really need you to constantly affirm.
Right.
Because I don't do that. And that's something I have to work on. So the way I give love is really the same. I give love the way I would want to receive it, which is probably not a good thing because obviously not everyone is the same.
Right.
My partner, might want different things that I might not want or need or do.
Because, for example, you say you don't need affirmations, and it's crazy because that might be the only thing that your partner needs, and you
not doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta figure out what your partner needs, baby.
Right.
Well, obviously you doing something good. You doing fine. Yeah. How do you think family dynamics influence romantic relationships?
Like current family dynamics, or because as I said before, the way I grew up wasn't very loving. So I'm not really loving in relationships.
So it has affected your relationship to a certain extent. However, your current boyfriend has shown you how to open up emotionally. So that could be an aspect of how your family dynamics could be important. Because if you had come from a loving family, you would know what it's like to open up yourself to love and accept the love. And you probably wouldn't be an overthinker. You wouldn't be paranoid. We wouldn't be getting ready to slap people upside their head when they talk crazy, or we don't understand them, because in their mind it may seem simple, but to us it's just like, you sound a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But yeah, so I feel like the family dynamics are important, but I feel like once you all tie the knot, you all create your own family, I feel like that generational curse will be broken, and you're going to create a loving family for your child to see that true love exists, and like you won't have to see that or experience that because your husband is going to love you, your husband's going to love your child, and she will come from a loving heart, and she won't have to go through like the things you went through, and you will shield her from seeing that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yep. How do you balance the influence of friends and family when it comes to your relationship?
I don't tell my friends and family everything. I tell them things that I feel like they would be able to forget or forgive.
The irrelevant things, and you keep the relevant things to yourself.
Exactly. Because the type of person I am, as you already know, I hold grudges. I'm possessive of my friends and family. So if they tell me something that's their part, I'm never forgetting. I'll always keep that in my mind, and I'm going to see that person one way, which is why they need to stop telling me stuff. But
yo, you gotta chill. You gotta chill. You gotta chill.
They need to start telling me things because now
Yeah.
I'm viewing their partners certain ways.
Right.
But I don't want them to view my partner
Right, in that manner.
exactly. So I keep certain things to myself and work through whatever problems that I would want to express with somebody else. I just work through it by myself and prevent them on my decision.
Right.
Or anything like that.
But you have to realize that you don't have to deal with it by yourself, for one. 2, you have me. 3, I don't like the fact that you say you just deal with it by yourself, because you don't necessarily have to deal with it by yourself, because what if there's something that you're really dealing with and you don't realize that it's causing you stress, and it gets to a point where your hind parts have a heart attack or something, or you have like a brain aneurysm, or you have an anxiety attack and you don't know where it's coming from, and you don't realize you've taken on so much because you're keeping it to yourself because you don't want them to look at him a certain way. But I feel like in your transparent friendships, you should be able to express that, hey, I want to explain something to you. However, I don't want it to screw up the perception that you have of my boyfriend. But I need to get it off my chest, so I don't hold it in. I just need you to listen. I don't want you to ask no questions. I just need you to listen. And therefore, you could go from there. If they say, I don't know if I can do that, you realize you're talking to the wrong person. And then if you can do that, you can just like let it out. And then that way you can get it off your chest. So you get what I'm saying? Because I feel like I'm that person. Like, I want to look at him and say, period. Next time we
So are you.
Oh, thank you. Next time we see her, we see that big rock on her finger and a little baby bump. Period. So tune in to Shantae's Listening. Also follow me on Instagram at Shantae's _listening _ on Instagram, and also on YouTube at Shantae's Listening. And this is Imani. We thank her for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Period. And see you later.